Okay, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This is episode 7, I think, and we're playing Kerbal Space Program, obviously. And here we are on the surface of Minmus, and we just kind of went through a full day night cycle, which only lasted about, well, a couple seconds for us. We realized that on here on the poles, on the North Pole, the sun kind of sets very briefly and just pops right back up again. And then we have Kerbin and the moon in the distance there. So that being our destination, our home, let's get back into the ship and let's get back home. Let's get out of here. Jebediah has seen the sights. He's fully he's had enough. He wants to go home. He's quenched his thirst for exploring other moons. So we'll retract the ladder. And what we're going to do from this point, I think, is, since we're on the pole, let's get towards the equator. So we'll burn southwards, get towards the equator. Once we hit around the equator, we'll just start thrusting to the 90 degree. Probably not the most fuel efficient thing to do, but we have so much fuel, it would be a shame to just not use it, right? So here we go. We're just going to immediately thrust 180 south. Just gonna come right back around. Wait for this thing. Probably wait till the apoapsis. Ooh, look at that, we're getting some altitude. Gets right around there, and then right when we're here, we are just gonna pull this thing out. And that's... what's that going to do for us? Well, actually, that's going to cause us to escape. We don't want to escape. We want to go back home. So I'm going to mess around with this. Oops. That's not what we want. Let's try that one more time. We don't want that. Let's see. We're going to want to go this way, but not too fast. So I'm going to also pull the retrograde toggle. That's a little bit better. That makes more sense. This way we're on a nice little thing here. There we go. So that'll be just fine. We'll kind of just change our orbit a little bit as we just drift up here. So in about 11 minutes, we'll make that burn. Again, since it's Minmus and there's such low gravity, a maneuver like that only takes 6 seconds worth of thrust with these engines. But if we tried to do that in Kerbin, you'd be thrusting for minutes, not just seconds. And it's just because of gravity. You know, Kerbin's a lot bigger, therefore it's got a lot more gravity. Minmus is but a tiny ball of ice or salt or something. I'm sure it says what it is somewhere. Minmus turning away. Okay, we're just about at the apoapsis. Alright, here we go. We're thrusting. We're just turning all that energy in a different direction. And there, it's flipped around, showing us that we have our orbit. Let's see what we got. It's about what we wanted. It's a little high, but that's okay. Alright, so you're probably thinking, how do we get home? Is it the same as escaping the moon? Yes. Pretty much. What you want to do is put your maneuver node somewhere around here. And you go, whoa. That just really gets away from you. You're just going to want to thrust until it breaks, right? And again, we're going to want to break out the opposite direction that Minmus is traveling. So Minmus is going around Kerbin in a clockwise fashion, so we're going to thrust... I'm sorry, Minmus is going counterclockwise, so we're going to thrust clockwise, right? And we're just going to get this until this purple orbit here just goes straight in to Kerbin. And you're going to have to adjust it every once in a while to make sure it's right on that line so you get the most efficiency. Come on. bring it in, it should bring it the rest of the way. 47. See that? All I did was move it a little further up against the way it's rotating, and already it's brought it right in to 47. Now look at our orbit's going to be all out of whack with like a heavy inclination, but that's okay because we're not really aiming for any particular spot on Kerbin. We just want to get this thing slamming into the atmosphere, so it's okay. Man, people on Steam are going crazy right now. Alright, so that node is going to be in a minute. We're practically right upon it. So let's just do a little time warp. It's only going to be a 5-second burn. Man, so this is what I'm saying about Minmus. It looks like it might be harder to get to and more of a pain, but it requires vastly less fuel to get here than the moon. The moon requires like tons of delta V, but this thing, this little Minmus is not bad at all. So we're just going to thrust. Get rid of the node there, and let's see what we've done. Kerbin periapsis 24. Perfect! So what that means is we're just gonna come slamming into the atmosphere at ridiculous velocities, and everything's gonna be fine. So we'll take one last glance of Minmus as it zips away from us. See you later, Minmus. We are homeward bound. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to put a flag on Minmus. How could I forget that? Jeb, how could you do that? Jeb's silly. Must have been thinking about those boulders on the face of Minmus. Okay. And we've just broken. We are no longer influenced by Minmus's gravity. It's too far away and it's too small. Where is it? It might actually be too far to see, actually. Where are you, Minmus? We just saw you. Oh, it's right by the sun. That's why it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, you can barely see it. It's just below the sun. So, here we go. We're just going to time warp now. We're just going to literally allow ourselves to fall right into Kerbin. We're going to have to go to 10,000 times because we're going so slow here. We're picking up speed. As you get closer to Kerbin, you're going to pick up a lot of speed. So be careful with your time warp. You don't want to overdo this, because again, if you get too close too fast, the computer won't be able to calculate the calculations that quick, and you'll just go bouncing off into infinity, and it won't be good for your poor astronaut. Whoa, see? Right there. You just really want to be careful. We're going to stay at 100. We get a nice shot of the South Pole there. Little Antarctica looking thing, but that can't be Antarctica because this is Kerbin, not Earth. Right? Alright. Looks just like it though. So here we come. Let's just double check that our periapsis is indeed 24, and it is. Good. So at this point, the only thing left to do is say goodbye to the lander, right? Paranoid me always likes to quick save. Don't hold it against me, you would too. This game sometimes does funny things. But anyways, let's jettison. We pretty much went through one full tank and only chewed up just a little bit of the next tank. Maybe 20%. Alright, goodbye service module. There she goes. Thank you. So we're just this little pod here, this little capsule. As we drift in towards the atmosphere. Just going to pull the panels in. It doesn't really matter, but maybe we'd like to recover those panels, right? We don't want to break them. We'd like them to be reusable. Whoa, that is strange. That is really weird. As I time accelerate, that thing just gets right next to us. And then it goes away again. That makes no sense. Like I said, this game's a little quirky. Here comes the re-entry effects now. Shifting around now. Screaming in at 3 kilometers per second. That is insane. G-force going up to right about 3 Gs now. We are just screaming through the atmosphere like a meteor. Look at that. 4 Gs. Our orbit is well inside now. We're definitely going to land no matter what. Guarantee you that piece of debris is going to keep floating. Yep, I knew it, because it just doesn't like to do it. So we got up to about 4 or 5 Gs. That's not too bad. I'm pretty sure that's like the standard for re-entry. Any higher than that, it just starts to get a little funny. I think 9 or 10 Gs is the maximum that humans can tolerate. Maybe it seems Kerbals can tolerate a lot more, because I'm certain I've had that G meter all the way up to 15, and they were just fine. Alright, bleeding off the rest of the velocity here. As we come in towards the dark side, it's getting a little darker out there. We're about Mach 2 now. Wait till we get a little lower before I deploy the parachutes. Jeb's happy. Let's take a look. What does Jeb see? He sees the water. Altimeter ticks on. Alright, let's get that parachute open. We'll let that thing slow us right down. Time accelerate. Slow it down around 500 meters. That's when it deploys. There it is. And we get a nice last shot of the sun setting over the oceans of Kerbin. Nothing else can be seen. Where are we actually? We are somewhere up here. There's the desert. So we're pretty much on the opposite. We actually are on the opposite side of the Kerbal Space Center. So their rescue crews are going to have to... They're going to have quite a ways to go to pick us up. And so there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this little Let's Play. It's a little 3-part series getting to Minmus. I hope it's useful for you guys. And, you know, definitely leave me some feedback. It's nice to know that people are watching, and this is basically a brand new channel. I kind of just had the idea to make a Let's Play of Kerbal, because I've been playing Kerbal for a couple years now, and I just figured, you know what, why not spread my knowledge that I've learned? And, you know, I kind of, what stopped me from doing it before is I figured, well, there's probably so many Let's Players out there, why even bother? But then I realized that I love playing the game. You know, gaming is what I do in my free time. It helps me unwind after work, and I figured, why not record it? You know, I'm already playing the game anyways. Might as well record it and share the knowledge out there, and maybe somebody will watch it and appreciate it, and maybe it'll help somebody out. So, you know, definitely leave feedback, and let me know if these videos help you, and let me know the kinds of things you guys want to see. And we splash down. After Minmus, you know, pretty much the next step is going interplanetary, where we can check out some of the other planets. Let's take a look. We'll recover that vessel. We'll go to the tracking center. We'll just check out the solar system, the Kerbal system. Here's the tracking center. So we've pretty much explored, you know, all the 2 orbiting bodies around Kerbin. Let's go a little further out. the next step is to go interplanetary. Now, I usually like to go out further because, well, I love Duna. It's probably my second favorite body in this entire system, just because I love Mars, and I know that it's supposed to be the Mars equivalent. And so I think that's what we'll do next. We'll plan a little trip to Duna, which means that we're gonna have to build a little bit bigger and a little bit better. We're gonna have to build some different craft, and I think we might experiment with docking and a craft to get us there. We'll undock, have a lander go down, maybe bring a couple Kerbals down to the surface, and it'll be fun. And we can also explore Ike, which Ike is not only tidally locked, but it's also in a geosynchronous orbit around Duna, which basically means Duna sees one face of Ike, Ike sees one face of Duna, and they both rotate around together. It's a strange phenomenon, and I remember the first time I discovered that, it kind of freaked me out because I landed and you expect to see the moon move, but it just hovered there. It stayed right there. It's kind of like if you've ever played The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, where the moon is crashing into the planet, and you have 3 days basically to beat the whole game, and it's a little freaky. It's just watching that moon hovering there, not moving anywhere. It's kind of like that on Duna. As long as you land on this side of the planet where you can see the moon, it just kind of hovers there. It's really freaky. So we'll experiment with that in the next couple series. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next episode.